Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Spaghetti Westerns podcast. I'm Tom Betts, your host. This is season 6, episode 3, number 116. Today we'll be talking about $5,000 on one ace in our History of the Spaghetti Westerns segment. Whatever happened to will be Freddy Hunger. Who are those guys? Ricardo Palacios. Film of the week is Arizona Cult, or known in the United States as The Man from Nowhere. I've got an autograph of the week. I've got a book of the week with some posters. CD and LP of the week is $5,000 on one ace, and then we'll wrap it up with the weekly news. So let's get started. History of the Spaghetti Western is $5,000 on one ace. Okay, this is a 1964 Spanish-Italian-West German co-production. Spanish title is Los Pistoleros de Arizona, also known in Spanish title of El Rancho de los Implacables. Italian title is Cinque Mil Dólares los Aso. German title is De Gejachten der Sierra Nevada. English title is $5,000 on the ace and $5,000 on one ace. Director is Al Bagran, B-A-G-R-A-N. That's actually Alfonso Balcazar. Story is by Helmut Herem. His real name is Helmut Habrick. Screenplay is by Jose Antonio de la Loma, Alfonso Balcazar, Sandro Continenza, and Helmut Herem. Cinematography, and there's 3 cinematographers on this: Carlo Carlini, Roberto Real, and Christian Mattress. It's an Eastman Color and Technoscope. Music is by A.F. Lavagnino, that's short for Angelo Francesco Lavagnino. And there's 3 songs in this. I guess it depends on what version you watch, either the Italian or the German or the Spanish, but at least on the Italian version, is A Gambling Man, sung by Don Powell. In the German versions, there's Die Gesgatten der Sierra Nevada, which is the main title, sung by Ralph Paulson, and Kein Gold and Blue River, sung by Ronnie, whose real name is Wolfgang Roloff. The film runs 95 minutes. The main actors are Jeff Clayton, played by Robert Wood, Juan Carancho, played by Fernando Sancho, Helen Greenwood, played by Maria Savault, David Greenwood, played by Frank or Jack Stewart, Jimmy Black or Jimmy Burke is played by Helmut Schmid, and the attorney Dundee is played by Richard Hausler. Also are a couple of well-known names for spaghetti western aficionados. Dingus is played by Antonio Molina Rojo. Cray or Craig is played by Paco Sanz. Jack is played by Miguel del Riva. And the district judge is played by Remo DeAngelis. The story goes, Jeff Clayton, played by Robert Woods, wins $5,000 and a ranch in a poker game, half of which belongs to the brother and sister, David, played by Frank Stewart, and Helen, played by Maria Savault. After saving a Mexican named Carancho, played by Fernando Sancho, stakes out in the desert, he's rewarded by being robbed by him. Arriving at the ranch, the brother and sister see the intrusion as hostile. They try to challenge the validity of Jeff's claim by calling in a lawyer named Dundee, played by Richard Hausler. Dundee, in fact, intends to seize the property with the help of a group of outlaws led by Jimmy Black, played by Helmut Schmid. Pursuing his goal, Dundee makes sure that David is accused of the murder of the former banker of the city, who's actually been killed by Black's henchmen. David is taken away to be hanged, but the intervention of Jeff, who thanks to his testimony proves David's innocence. The clash between Jeff and the outlaws is inevitable, but Jeff, with the help of Carancho, who turns out to be not such a bad guy after all, emerges victorious, and in time he exposes to all that Helen is in love with the wicked and deceitful Dundee. Dundee is killed in dramatic fashion, and finally liberated from the dishonest and ambitious Dundee, Jeff comes into possession of the ranch by marrying Helen. According to Simone Gelton's interview on the Spaghetti Western database, this was the first Western produced by Balcazar Studios and the first Spanish Western to be sold to MGM. Balcazar Studios would be one of the largest producers of Spanish-based spaghetti westerns, and many more, including both of Juliana Gemma's Ringo films, would follow. Robert Woods told me he didn't like working for Alfonso Balcazar, and after the first day when Robert was asked to roll down a rocky hillside where he was bruised and skinned up, Alfonso wanted another take. Woods told him if he wanted another take, Balcazar could roll down the rocky hillside himself. The two got into a heated exchange, and after that day's filming, Balcazar tore up his 5-film contract with Woods and told him their deal was over. In another scene, Robert told me he was riding a brown horse and rode behind a huge boulder. They stopped filming for the day, and when it resumed the next day, Robert was given a gray horse, and they resumed filming with Woods riding out from behind the same boulder from the day before. When Robert complained it wouldn't look right on the screen and that the audience would notice the different horses, Balcazar said no they wouldn't and continued filming. Robert also discovered when the film was released he was credited as Robert Wood. He complained again, but it was too late. The different spellings of his last name would be an ongoing affair throughout his European career. Robert did say that with the success of the film, several other European actors would use the name Wood as an alias, including Juliana Gemma as Montgomery Wood in the Ringo films. With the huge success of $5,000 on One Ace, Alfonso had Woods come to his office and presented him with the torn-up contract now taped back together and demanded that Robert still had 4 more films to make for Balcazar Studios. This led to another Western with Woods and Sancho, reversing roles with Fernando in the sympathetic lead. By the way, Robert said he had no problems with Alfonso's brother Jesus and got along with him very well and considered him a friend. As far as actor profiles, Jeff Clayton was played by Robert Wood. Robert Woods was born Donald Eugene LeBlanc in Denver, Colorado on July 19, 1936. He was adopted and grew up with his adoptive parents' ranch. He later became a model, producer, director, writer, theater, film, and TV actor and singer. He's recovering from a recent fall where he suffered bumps and bruises and cracked ribs. We wish him all the best and a speedy recovery. A bit of trivia, William Strange, also known as Wade Preston, grew up on a neighboring ranch in Colorado. I recently saw on Facebook someone mention Robert is filming The Return of El Paso, which I fully doubt because of his recent injuries. Juan Carancho is played by Fernando Sancho. Fernando Sancho Les was born on January 7, 1916 in Zaragoza, Aragon, Spain, and died from a tumor on July 31, 1990 in Madrid. Seems we mentioned him every episode, but covered him in depth in his own special episode number 9. Helen Greenwood was played by Maria Sebalt. Her actual name is Maria Sebalt, Sebalt, and she was born on April 26, 1930, in Berlin, Steglitz, Germany. She was a film, TV, voice actress, and author. She had a long career in German television and dubbed such American actresses as Joanne Woodward and Eva Marie Saint. She was married to director, writer, actor Robert Freitag. He was born in 1916 and died in 2010. They were married from 65 until his death in 2010, and she's the mother of Katharina Freitag, who was born in 1967. Maria died earlier this year on April 4th, 2023, in Munich, Germany, at the age of 93. This was her only spaghetti western. Then we have David Greenwood, who is played by Frank or Jack Stewart. Most likely an alias, but this was the only European Western he appeared in. Some cast listings give him the name of Frank Stewart, or the German program says Jack Stewart, but he's not Giacomo Rossi Stewart, that's for sure. What is the name of the actual credit? Who is credited as Stewart? I have no idea and can find no information on him. I've asked several of the experts and they don't know either. Jimmy Black or Burke was played by Helmut Schmid. Hans Helmut Schmid was born in New Ulm, Bavaria, Germany on April 8, 1925. He was an assistant director, film, TV actor, and singer. He appeared in around 60 films and TV series from 1954 until 1987. He was married to actress-singer Liselette Pulver, who was born in 1929. As far as I know, she's still living. And they were married from 1961 to 1992. He was also the father of Mark Tell-Schmidt, who was born in 62, and Melisande Schmidt, who was born in 67. She died in 1989. Helmut appeared in one other spaghetti western, The Man Called Gringo, in 1965 as Ken Denton, and a German TV western film called Pistolen Jenny in 1969 as Bill. Schmid died of a heart attack in Bern, Switzerland on July 18, 1992. He was 67. And last but not least, we have the attorney Dundee, played by Richard Hostler. Richard Hostler was born in Munich, Germany on October 26, 1908. He was a German film director and actor who started out in the theater, then went into films where he appeared in 75 films and TV series between 1936 and 1964. He also directed 7 films between 51 and 57. He was married to singer-actress Maria Andergast, whose real name is Maria Pitzer. She was born in 1912 and she died in 1995. They were married from 1958 to 1964. Hausler died in Grunwald, Germany on September 28, 1964. He was only 56. This was his only spaghetti western. Okay, moving right along, we're going to get into whatever became of, and it's Freddy Hunger. Okay, Freddy Hunger, sometimes spelled F-R-E-D-D-Y or F-R-E-D-Y. When we talk about spaghetti westerns and stunts, one name comes out above the others, and that's Freddy Hunger. He was the Yakima Canutt of the European Western genre. Born Goffredo Hermann Julio Unger on June 6, 1933 in Oslo, Norway, he was an actor, stunt coordinator, master of arms, assistant director, and special effects supervisor. He came from a German circus family who were performing in Norway at the time of his birth. Unger would appear in over 90 films, among which were 39 Euro westerns. His big screen debut came with La Strada, directed by Federico Fellini in 1954, after which there is currently a 3-year gap before his next known role. From the end of the 1950s, he worked steadily as a stuntman, small part actor, and master of arms in peplums, Euro spy films, space operas, and westerns. And he also has more than 20 credits as an assistant director. He would often appear in small roles in films where he had production credits. Though his on-screen appearances declined from the mid-1980s, he's still remembered for Devilfish in '84, King Solomon's Mines in '85, and Yor the Hunter from the Future in 1983. He acted under several pseudonyms such as Freddy Hagar, Freddy Hunger, one with or Fred Hunger, Federico Hunger, and John Silver, but is known by most of us as Freddy Hunger. When Bill Connolly and I interviewed Tony Anthony, I asked Tony about making 1980s Coming At Ya, where Hunger played the role of an Indian. In one scene, Tony is trapped in a burning building and Hunger's character is shooting arrows at him. Since this was before CGI, I asked how close the arrows were coming to him as they looked less than a foot. Tony said yes, they were very close, but he trusted Freddy so much that he allowed himself to be in the scene and not a double. If you get a chance, watch this incredible master of arms in action. Richard Harrison also remembered Freddy as being reckless sometimes. Harrison said, Freddy always did a good job, sometimes a little on the dangerous side. I had a fight scene with him one time and he was cut completely open on broken glass. He used real bottles. Freddy was married to Rena Ricci sometime in the 1960s until his death, and they had two sons, Mario and Genesio, both of whom worked at some point in the film industry. Ancestry.com shows Unger's passing as May 17, 2009 in Rome, Italy at the age of 76. I bring this up because you'll see multiple dates given to his passing. Some of his better known films are The Hills Run Red in 1966. He played a Union colonel. Face to Face in 67. He played a deputy of Purgatory City. Run Man Run in 67. He played Sheriff Arthur. Vengeance in 67. He played Yuma. Blackjack in 68. He played Billy. Dead Men Ride in 70. He played Chris. Shoot the Living and Pray for the Dead in 70. He played Frank Skelton. He was also the stunt coordinator and master of arms. His name was King in 71 as Ben Benson. Deaf Smith and Johnny Ears in 72. Jesse and Lester, two brothers in a place called Trinity in 72. He plays a medicine man. And Another Try, A Providence in 73. He plays a soldier. For the Apocalypse in 74, he plays a gambler. He's also stunt coordinator and stunts. Coming at you, 80, I mentioned he plays an Indian, and he is also in charge of the special effects. And his last spaghetti western was Thunder Warrior in 1983. He plays a friend of Thomas. Okay, now we'll move along and we'll cover who are those guys, Ricardo Palacios. Okay, Ricardo Palacios. Ricardo Palacios was born Ricardo Lopez Nuno Diaz on March 2nd, 1940 in Reynosa, Cantabria, Spain. He graduated from the Official School of Cinematography in Madrid as an actor and director. Ricardo put both to good use during his career. He first appeared before cameras in 1961's television series Polly, or Polly, P-O-L-Y. In his first films, he was credited as Ricardo Lopez Nuno, a regular actor in the co-production of the 1960s and 1970s. He could be seen in many spaghetti westerns filmed in Spain. Outside of westerns, Palacios played a Russian general in the 1971 version of Black Beauty. He was also a recurring presence in the filmography of the Madrid director Jesus Franco, and with whom he shot titles such as Cartas Boca Arriba, Letters Face Up, Fu Manchu y el Beso de la Muerte, Fu Manchu and the Kiss of Death, Camino Solitario, which is Lonely Road, Fuego Sucio in Casablanca, O Sola ante el Terror, Dirty Game in Casablanca, and Sola ante el Terror, Alone Before Terror. On television, his role as a municipal policeman, Beralite, in the series Verano Azul in 1981 is especially remembered. Palacio also appeared with Paul Naschy in 76's Ultimo Deseo, The People Who Own the Dark, and 1981's El Retorno del Hombre Lobo, Night of the Werewolf, and he played the sheriff in 1984's Monster Dog with Alice Cooper. His filmography as an actor is divided between productions for film and television and is around 175 titles. As a director, he has to his credit Mio Conejo es el Mejor in 1982, an erotic drama with Lina Romay and Emilio Linder, and Viva la Banda, 1987, a comedy set in the Spanish Civil War and starring Alfredo Landa. For television, he directed the series La Banda de Perez in 1997. During his spaghetti western career, he appeared in 32 westerns, where he usually portrayed barmen, Mexican bandits, railroad employees. He was the engineer in Once Upon a Time in the West, but his scenes were cut, and military personnel. Because of his love of food and his girth, he developed heart problems, and in January of 2015, he was hospitalized in Madrid and died there a month later on February 11th, 2015. He was 75. When I was in Madrid in 2003, I was visiting with Aldo Sambrell at a local restaurant, and he said to me, "Do you want to meet a spaghetti western actor?" I figured he was referring to himself and was going to point to himself. I said, "Sure." He said, "Come with me," and we walked over to a small table where a large man was drinking coffee and reading a book. I said to Aldo, "That's Ricardo Palacios." He was a bit surprised. I knew who the man was, but I had recently seen posted on Facebook Carlos Aguilar's biography of him in a recent photo, so I recognized him right away. He introduced me to Ricardo and we talked for a few minutes. I got his autograph and thanked him and let him go back to his book and his coffee. Some of his more prominent roles that you'll remember him in are For a Few Dollars More, where he plays the Tucumcari bartender, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, he plays the Socorro barman in a cut scene, Return of the Seven, he plays the jailer, The Ugly Ones in 66, he plays the stage station attendant, Day of Anger in 67, he plays the Bowie Cantina owner, Run Man Run in 67, he plays a Mexican officer, El Condor in 69, he plays the chief Mexican bandit. In Red Sun in 71, he plays Pogo. The Man Called Noon in 73, he plays the brakeman. Stranger and Gunfighter, 74, he plays Calico. And Take a Hard Ride in 75, he plays Calvera. And Coming at Ya in 1980, he plays Polk Thompson. Okay, let's see, what do we want to do? Film of the week? And that's going to be The Man from Nowhere or Arizona Colt. Okay, give me a sec to lay these pages out so we can move right along. Okay, film of the week is Arizona Colt or The Man from Nowhere. Italian title is Arizona Colt. Also, the second Italian title is Il Pistolero di Arizona. Arizona Colt is the French title. Man from Nowhere is the USA title. This is a 66 Italian-French film co-production. Producer is Elio Scaramaglia. Director is Michel Lupo. Story is by Ernesto Gastaldi and Luciano Martino. Screenplay is by Ernesto Gastaldi. The English dialogue is by Louis E. Cianelli. Cinematography, which is in Technicolor and Technoscope, is Guglielmo Mancori. Music is by Francesco Damasi. There's a couple of songs in here. Arizona Colt is sung by Raul, whose real name is Ettore Lovecchio. And From the West and Broken Heart Ranch, sung by I Cantori Moderni. Film runs 116 minutes. Main actors are Arizona Colt, played by Juliana Gemma. Torres or Gordo Watch is played by Fernando Sancho again. Jane or Jacqueline is played by Corinne Marchand. Kay or Clay is played by Mello Pazzafini. And Double Whiskey is played by Roberto Camardiel. You'll also see in here, if you look quick, Jose Terron, he plays one of Gordo Watch's henchmen, and one of the murdered ranchers, easy for me to say, is Guglielmo Spolatini. I won't even tell you who that is until we get into the talking points. Okay, story goes, a gang of outlaws infest the area of Blackstone Hill. The leader, Gordon Watch, played by Fernando Sancho, is in the need of men for his gang and attacks a prison for recruits, forcing them with death if they don't join his band. He then brands them with the letter S on their arm. During one of these so-called recruiting runs, he takes Arizona Colt, played by Gemma, a gunslinger who requests an extension of time before deciding on the offer of being a bandit. Going to Blackstone Hill, Arizona meets Kay, played by Nella Pazzafini, a member of Watch's gang who Gordon sent to keep an eye on Arizona. Kay follows Dolores, was played by Rosalba Neri, the daughter of Pedro and Rhea Bosick, the owner of the saloon, to a nearby barn and kills her after an attempted rape. Pedro decides to take revenge and enlists the help of Arizona, who accepts on a condition of spending the night with Jane, played by Corinne Marchand, the older sister of the murdered girl. Reluctantly, Pedro accepts the ignoble price. Arizona kills Kay, but ends up being tortured and shot in both legs and hands by Gordon. Whiskey takes him to town where he's treated at Pedro's saloon. There he recovers from the help of Jane. Arizona decides to end the deal, but later at an abandoned church where he is hiding, along with his now helpful friend Double Whiskey, played by Roberto Camardial, a former member of the Watch's gang, Arizona is joined by Jane, who asks him to intervene because Gordon is destroying the entire village. The young gunslinger returns to Blackstone Hill, confronts and kills Gordon, and then goes away despite the sincere love that now unites him and Jane. This is a fun-filled film with plenty of action and clever dialogue, and a who's who of Spanish and Italian supporting character actors. If you watch Gemma's portrayal, it's like he's playing Ringo again from the Duccio Tessari directed films. His outfit, his gun handling, he drinks only milk, his dialogue, etc., all will remind you of Ringo. He gets to show his skills as an acrobat in several scenes. Fernando Sancho is especially at the top of his game and has a great scene in the beginning where he talks about his wanted posters and that the Americans changed his name from Gordo to Gordon, a play on the European changing their real names to Americanized names. Roberto Camardial plays his usual role of whiskey, but in this one he drinks so much whiskey, he's dubbed Double Whiskey. Although Corinne is a very good-looking woman, I thought she looked too old to play the daughter. Whether it was the makeup, hairstyle, or it was just me, she seemed miscast. I'll show my age by telling you that she reminded me of singer Patti Page. Watch out for our friend Jesus or Jose Toron, who plays one of Watch's gang members. There's also a scene where Jeff Cameron, who plays a rancher captured by and murdered by the gang, he's billed under his real name, Giovanni Scarciofolo. Some great cinematography by Guglielmo Mancori, one of the three brothers who worked on many spaghetti westerns, and the Francesco Damasi score, which is one of his best, really fits well with the film. Okay, actor profiles. Arizona Colt, played by Juliana Gemma. We've covered Gemma several times, and anyone familiar with the genre knows all about him. If you don't or want to know information, check his special episode number 41. Torres Gordo Watch, played by Fernando Sancho. His real name is Fernando Les, and appears we cover him every week. We covered him in his own episode number 9 if you want more in-depth information. Kay or Clay is played by Nello Pazzafini. His real name is Giovanni Pazzafini. We've also covered him several times, so if you want to check out more information on him, check out episodes 34 and 86. Double Whiskey is played by Roberto Camardial. His real name is Roberto Escudero. We've covered him in several episodes. If you want more information, check out episodes number 35 and number 97. Jane or Jacqueline is played by Corinne Marchand. We've not covered her before. She was born Denise Marie Renée Marchand in Paris, France on December 4th, 1937. She began her career as a model and then went to films and television and also as a singer. She is considered a member of the new French wave of performers. Corinne also appeared in over 60 films and television series since 1954 to 2017. She is best known for playing the pop singer Cleo in Cleo from 5 to 7 in 1962, directed by Agnes Varda. Marchand also appeared as Anne McGregor in the French 1984 TV semi-western Louisiana, starring Margot Kidder. Okay, let's move on to Autograph of the Week. Okay, Autograph of the Week. This one's pretty rare as far as I'm concerned. It's of Sidney Chaplin, and it's right below his picture. I could only get photocopies since I didn't have any real posters or pictures of him. And how I got this one was my uncle used to go to Cinecon in Hollywood, which was at Labor Day, which for our European viewers was usually the first weekend in September. Appearing one time was Sidney Chaplin. So I sent a bunch of photographs, which were actually copies of photographs, to my uncle and had him take them and see if he would get his autograph, which he gladly did. And he laughed because no one ever gave him pictures at that time of his spaghetti western career. In fact, he was surprised that anyone even knew that he had a spaghetti western career. So he was tickled pink to see these and readily gave my uncle an autograph. So it's dear to my heart. Okay, now let's move on to Book of the Week. Okay, Book of the Week. I think I mentioned this when we covered Woody Strode, but I didn't have it. It was packed away. But this is Gold Dust, not Gold Dust. It's an autobiography of Woody. It's by him and Sam Young. And this is still available. It's under 20 bucks. You can probably find it on Amazon or Abe Books. And a lot of you people, what's this Abe book? It's ABE, and they have a lot of used books, and you can put requests in there, and when they come across it, they'll send it to you. I get a lot of my European books from them. This was done in 1990. Let me see who the producer. It's by Madison Books, and it's got pictures in it. It's got real quick here. Blah, blah, blah. 259 pages. It's in English. Like I said, it's got plenty of pictures of him. Does cover his European career, covers his athletic career, everything. It's a great read, and you really enjoy it. So look for a copy of that, like I said, on Amazon or Abe Books. Okay, let's go to CD of the week. Okay, CD or LP of the week is $5,000 Dollari Sul Aso. It's basically, $5,000 on the red. This was released on LP in 1965 in Italy by CAM, C-A-M. It's number CMS 30-129. Only has 16 tracks of music and no vocal. Listening time is 37 minutes, 33 seconds. It's only worth about $6. Then a CD was released in 1993. It's on CAM. It's on CSE 116. Has 17 tracks of music and does contain the vocal. So this is the one to get. Listening time is 43 minutes and 6 seconds, and it's worth $10. Now, in 2003, a re-release was made of the same CD by CAM. It's on CAM 493-489-2. Again, has 17 tracks of music, same listening time, but this thing's worth $50. Now, why? I have no idea. And then in 2013, it was released on Beat, BCM 9530. Tracks are 23, contains the vocal, and listening time is 50 minutes and 47 seconds. It's worth $15. The composer on this is Francesco Lavagnido, and he was born in Genoa, Liguria, Italy on February 22nd, 1909. He was a composer, conductor, songwriter, musician, played the violin, and a whistler. He composed the scores for 24 spaghetti westerns from 52 to 68. He's best known for scoring many films, including Legend of the Lost, Gorgo, Daisy Miller, and two directed by Orson Welles, Othello, and Chimes at Midnight. Some of his better known Western scores are Gunman at the Rio Grande with Guy Madison, Johnny West, Stranger in Paso Bravo, The Tramplers, Today We Kill, Tomorrow We Die, Dueling the Eclipse. L'Avignito died in Gavi, Piedmont, Italy on August 21st, 1987, and he was 78. Now, I promised I was going to cover Raul, but I've got information coming on him, so that's going to be delayed. But I promise when I get the information and put it together, I'll present it at a later date. Okay, let's get into a couple of posters that I have. So the poster. First thing I want to show is we have a German film, and these things were given out at when you went to see the film. Got information on it, also on the back, and these were used for German film ad mats. Also have the German poster. And it's funny because they highlight Fernando Sancho and not Robert Woods, where in the second one to come along, he was the star in. Also have a Belgium poster for Arizona Colt. Those are always nice, and those are the posters I have. And now we'll wrap things up with the news of the week. Okay, let me wet my whistle here. Okay, first of all, we have a German Blu-ray that was released this week titled Why Ein Schrei in Wind. It's actually The Trap in English, 1966 film directed by Sidney Hayes and starring Oliver Reed and Rita Trishingham. It's released on October 29th on the PDAX, PIDAX label. It's region B. It's in German and English with no subtitles. Runs 104 minutes. The extras include an Oliver Reed on-set interview and a picture gallery. Then we have a new Italian poster book that's come out called Renato Casaro, the Ultimo Cartellanista, Treviso, Roma. And it's available from Grafiche Antigua, has 412 pages of posters of various genres, including many spaghetti westerns. And this guy did a lot of spaghetti western poster art. So those are all included in the book. Then we have our normal weekly Boot Hill. First on the hill is Stephen Kandel. He was a prolific American writer. He died in Boston, Massachusetts on October 21st. He was 96. He was born in New York City on April 30th, 1927, and began his career in Hollywood in 1958, writing for the TV series Sea Hunt with Lloyd Bridges. His vast filmography includes series such as Star Trek, MacGyver, Mission Impossible, Batman, Wonder Woman, Heart to Heart, Iron Horse, $6 Million Man, Barnaby Jones, Mannix, and many others. He also wrote the feature Euro-Western film Cannon for Cordoba and The Battle of Coral Sea. Next we have Richard Mole. This is going to surprise a lot of people. Richard Mole, who portrayed the towering and tender-hearted bailiff Aristotle Nostradamus Bull Shannon on all 9 seasons of the popular NBC sitcom Night Court during its original run, has died. He was 80. Mole died in Big Bear, California. It's an suburb of Los Angeles up in the mountains. On October 26th, he was born Charles Richard Mole in Pasadena, California. He was 6'8" and played in Played an indomitable snowman alongside Ringo Starr and Barbara Bach in the comedy feature Caveman in 1981, and he was a scary, decomposing Vietnam veteran in the horror film House in '86. Mull also did lots of voiceover work and appeared in two European westerns. He acted in an uncredited role in the TV miniseries The Adventures of Smoke Ballou in 1995, and he provided additional voices for the animated '97 TV series The Legend of Calamity Jane. Then we have Elmer Wepper. He was a German voice actor and dubber. He died in Munich, Germany on October 30th from heart failure. He was 79. Wepper was a titan of the silver screen with a career that spanned over 6 decades. He lit up living rooms across the globe with his portrayal of Inspector Harry Klein in the popular TV series Der Kommissar, which aired from 1969 to '76. Elmer was born in Augsburg on April 16, 1944, and grew up in Munich. He studied German language and literature and theater studies. He was also known for dubbing Mel Gibson's voice since 1980s. Wepper was the German voice of Paul Hover in 1969's The Leatherstocking Tales, also known as The Adventures in Ontario. He was Alberto Dell'Acqua's voice in Trinity and Sartana, Those Sons of Bitches, and Robert Wood's voice in 1975's White Fang and the Hunter. Now, also popping up today, I wanted to mention Marina Ciccagni. She died today in Rome. She was 89. You'll see that sometime in some of the obits she's credited as a producer on Once Upon a Time in the West. As far as I know, that's not correct. She was the brother of Bino Ciccagni, who was the producer on Once Upon a Time in the West. He was born in '35 and died in '71 at the age of 36. If anyone can point me in a direction that shows that she was anything to do with Once Upon a Time in the West, let me know. I even checked Christopher Frayling's book on the making of the Once Upon a Time in the West, and he doesn't mention her at all. IMD doesn't mention her at all. It does mention her as Once Upon a Time in the West director in Wikipedia, but you know how reliable that is. So if anyone can come close to finding her mentioned as a producer in the film, you can send me a message on Facebook or get a hold of my email and send it to me there or the blog. Anyways, that wraps it up for this week. We'll close this production with our thanks to Roberto Genesi. And right now, we'll meet you on down the trail. Adios, amigos.